All right, here we go. I've had some students say that they were having a tough time with this, so just wanted to go through some of the answers real quick for you and let you know that this is not as hard as it looks when you first look at it. Okay, you're basically getting an area of a bunch of shapes, and you remember to get the area of a triangle, right? You have the base at the bottom, you have the height, and it's always 1/2 times the base times the height. That's the area. Now on this set of numbers, since they are all decimal numbers, feel free to make it easier, and instead of saying 1/2, you know 1/2 as a decimal is 0.5. So it'll go 0.5 times the base times the height for the triangles. Okay? For a parallelogram, opposite sides are parallel. Okay? And sometimes they'll put little notches on the, so you know, since this has 2 notches, this is the same as that. And since these have 1 notch, this is the same as that. That comes up on the other side a little bit. So you know that opposite sides are equal, opposite sides are parallel, and you have a base at the bottom and a height. And sometimes the height's off to the side. Sometimes they put it in the middle right there. One that has the right angle. Okay? You definitely want to have that. It's looking like my computer's running low. Plug this in real quick. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it's showing up kind of dark, saying, hey, you better plug that in, our battery's running low. Okay, there we go. So it's just that for a parallelogram, it's not 1/2, it's just the base times the height. How wide is it? How tall is it? Trapezoids are kind of weird, right? Trapezoids don't have equal sides, all right, but they have one set of parallel lines. I usually call it the top and the bottom, all right, and they have a height. How tall is it? And to get a trapezoid, it's actually the average of the top and the bottom. So the top plus the bottom divided by 2 times the height. You have me for third period. I'm not sure if we added the times the height on the board, so hopefully you have that and you know that. Anyway, you know those 3 things, and you know how to multiply decimals. You're just going to put these together, okay? So let's get that flag on top first. What shape is that? Well, the printer tried to cut it off, but that is a parallelogram with a base and a height. And the base is 3, and the height is 2.2, so when you multiply decimals, pretend there's no decimal. I'm going to pretend it's 22. 3 times 22 is 66. It wasn't really 22. The decimal was here. I moved it over 1 spot to pretend it was. So if I move it over 1 spot in the problem, I move it back 1 spot in the answer. So the flag is 6.6 square centimeters. Off and running. Big triangle. Base of 13.7. Height of 10. I'm doing 1/2 of the base times the height. But check this out. 1/2 times 13.7 is just like 5 times 137, and then we'll figure out the decimal. So 5 times 7 is 35, carry the 3, 5 times 3 is 15, plus 3 is 18, carry the 1, and 5 times 1 is 5, plus 1 is 6, 685, but really that was 0.5, really that was 0.7. That's 2 spots I moved back in the problem, so I got to move back in the answer. So 6.85 on that one. Sorry. 13.7.5. That is 68.5, right? Let's see, because I got the 6.85, but I had to multiply it by 10, right? That's just half of this. Don't forget the height. And when you multiply something by 10, you move the decimal 1 spot to the right. So that's how I get the 68.5 square centimeters. And I won't keep writing square centimeters. On to the next one. 0.5 times 5.6. And that's also half. If I know half of 5.56 is 28, so this is going to be 2.8. But let's figure it out. If you know, you can sort of do that shortcut. I'm good at cutting numbers in half and multiplying numbers by 2. I found out that comes in handy, so I just got good at it somehow. 5 times 6 is 30. Put the 3 there and the 0 there, and 25 plus 3 is 28. And that was really 0.5, right? And that was really 5.6, so go over 2 spots, I get 2.8. And I still have to multiply that by the 8.5, so 85, 28, pretend there's no decimal, 40, 64 and 4 is 68, put a placeholder, 2 times 5 is 10, and 16 and 1 is 17, go add them up, and I get 2,380, but I moved it over once there, so I got to go back twice in my answer, and I get 23.8. Now, here's where there's a shortcut available. The bottom of that boat, what shape is that? If you put them all together, you can call that a trapezoid, right? So if that was a trapezoid, I need this plus this divided by 2, which is the average of the top and bottom, times the 3.9. Let's do that real quick. 13.7 plus, what's this? Well, again, those notches, this is a square. If that's 3.9, that's 3.9. All right? And this is 4.4. And this, well, there's the notches. 2 notches is 3.7, so that's going to be a 3.7. All right, so 3.7. That is the top. Add them all up. 11 and 9 is 20, 27. 5, 8, 12, 15. Carry the 1. Okay, and I'm going to double check that. So 13 point, look at that. I wrote 13.7, should have wrote 8.7. So I'm going to subtract 5 from there, right? 20.7. All right. 20.7 on that one. And on here I got 6.1, 3.9. That makes 10, I know. And 3.7, so it should be 13.7. Let's double check. 9 and 7. 9 plus 1 and 7 is 17. Carry the 1. 7, 10, and 3. 13.7. That's what I thought. So the top plus the bottom is a 13.7 and a 20.7. Put those together. 34.4. Now I got to divide it by 2. Or I could have multiplied it by 0.5. Same thing, right? 2 goes into 34 17 times. Could have done that in 2 steps if I wanted. Taking a shortcut. And 2 goes into 4 2 times. So 17.2 times the height. Pretend it's 172. And I get 18 there. And 63 plus 1 is 64. And 9 plus 6 is 15. Put a placeholder. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 7 is 21. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 2, 5. Now I get 6,708, but remember that was 17.2, that was 3.9. I went over twice, go back twice. I get 67.08 on that. Okay. And once I get that, I put that up here, and I got all the shapes. Right? I got this with 6.6, this big triangle, little triangle, and the trapezoid at the bottom. So I'm kind of cheating a little bit here, right, by getting all this in one shape instead of getting this, 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 and this, right? But we'll double check after. All right, so since that comes out to the hundredths place, I'm going to put zeros next to these tenths. 0, 0, 0, and 8. 6 and 5 is 11, plus 8 is 19. Decimal comes straight down, carry that 1. 7 and 8 is 15, and 3 is 18. And 18 and 7 is 25. Then I got 2 6s, 2 2s. So 8 and 8 is 16. So I got 165.98 for my answer here. Okay? Now, most of you probably didn't see that shortcut, so you probably did, for this, 3.9 times 3.9 to get the square. For this, you probably did 6.1 plus 8.7 divided by 2 times 3.9. And then for this one, this was tricky. A lot of kids messed up on this one, right? For that triangle, you don't need this 5.8. That's not the base or the height. Remember, the base and the height make a right angle. So the 4.4, because they didn't give you this 3.9, a lot of kids didn't use it. But I'm doing half of 4.4. I'm already doing it in my head. 1/2 times 4.4 times 3.9. Half of 4.4 is 2.2. That times 3.9 is this triangle. And then the parallelogram, how wide is it? Well, if that's 5.8, this is 5.8, and that's 2.4. Okay? So to get this one, I got 5.8 times 2.4. Now, this answer plus this answer plus this answer plus this answer should equal the trapezoid 67.08. Okay? I'm going to let you guys try that. I think I fed you enough. I'm not going to feed it all to you. You're going to have to earn it. All right? You either use my shortcut, or I'd love it, even if you want to use my shortcut, if you proved that that trapezoid equals 67.08 by adding this one plus the square plus the triangle plus the, right? If you do that, if you prove it and you do my shortcut, right, I will give you 2 extra credit points and a ticket tomorrow. Okay? But that's the answer I get. Hopefully I got it right. Right? You saw me do it. Okay? And you've seen me make mistakes before. All right. Fingers crossed this is good for you. And that's supposed to say name, but you're going to put your name, Mr. Daniel, the date, and the period anyway, right? All right. I gave you a boat today. 6 more days. I will see you tomorrow.